seeing my daughter watch me cry because I was in so much pain. I know I was at the time before the program, I wasn't eating right. I'd grab my cup of coffee in the morning and I'd make a run for it, and that would be it throughout the whole entire day. I realized that some of the issues that I had was anxiety and so forth, and now a year later, I'm not having those types of issues.
Hey everybody, welcome to Transform Autoimmune. I'm Maggie Yu, MD, functional and holistic medicine physician and owner of Transform. And today we have a really intimate, exciting interview from Teresa, one of our graduates from a year ago, she's been struggling with issues relating to psoriasis, psoriatic arthritis, Graves, Hashimoto's, and a myriad of other symptoms. I love the fact that she's sharing her story, and where she said a year ago her life was literally falling apart. And you guys got to see where she's at now and what the steps that she took to actually get here, following a root cause approach of the Transform protocol. So take it away. I hope you enjoy this interview. Here's Teresa. Hey, Teresa, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi, my name is Theresa Lowry. I'm from Austin, Texas. I currently am 43 years old, and I work for an international transportation company.
All right. And now my next question is going to be, tell our audience what were some of the diagnoses that you had prior to joining our program. And this is really typical of people with autoimmunity, is that they either have a ton of symptoms without a diagnosis, or they have a diagnosis and multiple other symptoms, or they have multiple diagnoses. This is really common. So which spectrum do you fall on with that? What diagnoses and what symptoms?
I've had autoimmune issues since my early 20s, and it was one of those where it started off with, I was diagnosed with Graves' disease, and through the years it progressed to psoriasis. Psoriatic arthritis was what I was diagnosed with about a year ago, as well as numerous additional issues, from fatigue to brain fog to just about everything.
So diagnoses, why we're talking psoriasis, psoriatic arthritis, Graves, and Hashimoto's, correct?
Correct.
Okay, tell me your top 4 symptoms that you were dealing, 3 or 4 symptoms you were dealing with.
The main symptom would be the pain.
What level was it?
It was a level 10.
Okay, so severe.
It was very severe, to the point where it was hard to get out of bed. It was difficult to walk down the stairs, to just about everything was extremely painful.
So big limitation mobility. Would you say 10 is the most limited in mobility and 0 is no problem? What number was mobility affected?
Mobility was about the same. It was about a 10.
Wow. And what about the fatigue level? You mentioned fatigue.
Fatigue was probably at about an 8.
That's really huge. How was dealing with joint pain of 10, mobility level of 10 out of 10 problems, and fatigue 8 out of 10? How did that impact upon your life and your function?
Oh, it was miserable. I mean, it had a huge impact on me, as far as just anxiety, depression, feeling helpless, because there would be times where I wouldn't be able to take care of my family, my daughter. I'd be constantly tired, or just hurting, not being able to sleep because the pain in the middle of the night was just excruciating. And seeing my daughter watch me cry because I was in so much pain, that was also causing a problem for her.
So it not only impacted you, but also affected your whole family. Question, which is, how many years do you think you've been dealing with those symptoms prior to even joining or considering our program?
At least 20 years. I mean, if I look back at some of the health issues that I had, I never pinpointed it to autoimmune. It was just, all right, you have this, so let's fix it by giving you a prescription or something to make the pain go away, but never really getting to the true issue.
And true issue, let's talk about that, which was, when we look at how conventional doctors and what you did in our program with our Transform protocol, our root cause approach is really different. You talk about core issue. My question for you then is, people want to know outcomes like, okay, everybody wants a root cause issue. what's the real meal deal? Our program is a 2-month online program. My question for you is, where are you at right now, time-wise? When did you complete our program, and how far along after the program you're at right now?
I completed the program, I believe it was at the end of November. So we're going on almost a year since I started the program.
Great. So let's ask this question. Initially, after the 2 months of working with me and my team directly in our program, what were your initial outcomes?
My initial outcomes, the pain level. I was able to sleep through the night, something that I hadn't done in months, because I no longer had the pain that I was dealing with. Fatigue was improving. Even some symptoms that I never realized were related to autoimmune were starting to go away. That's why I look back and think there's probably more triggers that were happening. Well, I know there were more triggers that were happening that I didn't even correlate.
Teresa, what were those symptoms that you were surprised at that you didn't even know were autoimmune? You said there were several things that were improving you didn't even know was attributed. So I'm curious, what were they? So our whole audience can learn from it.
So I had issues with my neck, and I thought it was, I had gone to doctors and they told me I had issues with, I think it was called degenerate disorder. And I was sent to physical therapy. I went to chiropractors. Nothing was ever helping. And it wasn't until after the program that I realized I wasn't having issues with my neck anymore. I can move it, and I could, I wasn't feeling as in pain. And I never put the 2 and 2 together, that it was a trigger that was probably taking place.
Correct. I love that. And now you are 1 year later. And people have questions about sustainability. Is this a 2-month fluke, or is this really, I call our program 2 months to launch you into a year of autoimmune turnaround. So inquiry minds want to know, a year later now, what has changed? What's gotten better? What's gotten, you say the same? What some continued improvements can people expect, or what have you experienced?
As far as sustainability, it's very sustainable. Different pillars in the program are so easy to maintain. And I know for myself, I know what to look for. And as far as what improvements I've had, I don't have the pain that I had from over a year ago. Sometimes I do, don't get me wrong. There are times where I haven't followed the protocol, but I know what I've done. So I know how I'm able to resolve to get myself to feeling better again.
So continue improvement in all those fronts with the pain, the mobility, fatigue.
Mm-hmm.
Question. Do you think throughout the program, people are like, they want to know the magic sauce? And our 5 pillars, number 1 is hormones, number 2 is food mapping, number 3 is blood sugar mastery, number 4 is gut healing, and number 5 is nutrient density. Out of those, what do you think were your biggest linchpins? Was there one? Was there 2? Was it all?
It was all of them, to be honest. It was my blood sugar. That was a big thing. I know I was, at the time, before the program, I wasn't eating right. I'd grab my cup of coffee in the morning and I'd make a run for it, and that would be it throughout the whole entire day. My blood levels, vitamins, and so forth, those were extremely abnormal. So that took a lot of improvement to be able to get to the point where I was at, as well as hormone factors and also the food mapping that we did. There was items on here that I would have never known to test because it was something so small that I used all the time, and I would have never.
What was it?
Oregano. And I used oregano all the time. When I cleaned out my cabinet, there was probably about 10, 15 different types of spices that contained it. So that's something that without that portion of the program, I would have never have found that was an issue for me.
Okay. I love that. Okay. Next question is, a year ago, you were sitting on the internet, finding out about me and our program the first time. What do you think was your biggest hesitation about joining our program?
One of the biggest hesitation was it was something different. It was an online program that I had never heard of. I had probably would have never even considered. So I was very hesitant, but I was determined to find a solution. And I did my research, I joined the program, went through a whole bunch of modules.
Free Facebook group, Transform Autoimmune. You join the group, and we have a whole section on units with free modules to educate people about whatever their diagnosis or symptom is and how our approach, the root cause approach with Transform, applies to it. So you're saying you like went gangbuster stalker mode on all those units that were free.
I did. I was quite the stalker. Some videos I think I even read or watched 2 or 3 times just to make sure that I was really understanding this. There really was an outcome that can come from it.
Cool. So question is also, what made you finally pull the trigger? What made you take the plunge to actually jump in and commit to joining the program?
I was frustrated with the constant going back and forth to the doctors and not receiving the help that I was looking for. I was told that my pushing point was I was given a whole bunch of pamphlets and was told, here, do your research, tell me which prescription you would like for me to give you, and come back and we'll start the program. And that honestly was what led me to my search of there has to be something better, especially when I started researching some of the side effects that that these medicines that they were trying to prescribe me would do to me. And I didn't want that. So it was a good thing and it was a bad thing that I had received that type of treatment, because it did push me to kind of take control and learn from what was being given to me and find an alternate route.
Question for you. What's something that you do now effortlessly that a year ago you thought was impossible?
Honestly, it's something simple. I can open a bottle of water. I don't know if that's the question that you're asking, but that was something that I couldn't do a year ago. I'm able to actually also challenge a diagnosis or also question something that a doctor might be telling, because I know the questions to ask, and I'm not afraid to just take what they're saying without doing my own research.
I love that we are a year afterwards, and so hindsight is 2020. I'd love to ask you what your feelings are about you completing the program and the outcomes that you have. How do you feel now about this whole process and what the outcomes are?
I feel great. I feel health-wise, I feel better than I probably have in years. Even for myself, confidence-wise, I feel more confident, whether it's dealing with something that has to do with my health or just overall. I realized that some of the issues that I had was anxiety and so forth, and now a year later, I'm not having those types of issues.
I love that. So my question is, with more self-confidence, way less anxiety, what's something recently that you did that you're completely proud or excited about that you wouldn't have even done or considered a year ago?
One thing that I've been able to do more is I've been able to be more active with my daughter, going for walks, whether it's going outdoors, playing, in the pool, swimming. I'm actually able to be more active than that's something that I haven't been able to do or wasn't able to do a year ago.
I love that. Okay. Right now, my last question, a question I have for you right now is, if someone was sitting in front of the computer right now and they're seeing a post of ours and they're deciding whether they should click the button to join our Facebook group or to watch our online training, what's your message to them?
Don't hesitate. Jump. Take the leap of, faith that into this program. It is something that is not conventional, but the outcomes that you will receive are undeniable. I mean, it saved me, and I honestly, a year ago, I didn't think I'd be here, and it was one of the best decisions that I made.
That's it. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And it's fun seeing you a year later. Hey, thank you for watching that interview with Teresa. And I think Teresa's interview really highlights the kind of rock bottom that people can get to with dealing with many symptoms. And her symptoms of fatigue, pain, and mobility issues was intense, really impacting upon her and her family's life. And she was hesitant. I mean, being in an online program was very unfamiliar to her. But one thing that she demonstrates is that she did her homework and her research before joining our program. She joined our Facebook group, Transform Autoimmune. She went to our free unit section and did a ton of our training videos and case studies to really get a grasp of understanding what it is truly that we do, the kind of outcomes we provide, and how, before she actually made the plunge to jump in and join the program. And now, within 2 months, I mean, she was pointing out that her having her hormone balance, food mapping, and blood sugar was pivotal in turning 10 out of 10 pain to almost 0. And that result has continued even a year later, because I think sustainability is something we have to answer. And I love the fact that these results are sustainable. So thank you for joining us. And if you loved seeing this interview and know someone else that can benefit for it, I want you to hit share, click the video and hit share, and share it with someone, or post their name in the comment section so then they get to see the video too. Just go ahead and put in the comment section their name. Sharing's caring. So thanks for watching this interview, and I'll see you in our Facebook group, Transform Autoimmune. Thanks, everybody.